Dyslexic Genius here. Everybody liked the video on how to fix a toasted cylinder and how I cleaned them and everything. And then now we get to the point where we have a cylinder that's missing the plaster of Paris. And how do we fix this? Well, Mrs. Genius came up with this going, I bet you could do that. I go, I'll try, honey. Don't tell her I'm using one of her bowls either. She'll get mad at me. Okay, what you need is DAP real plaster of Paris.
We got this at Ace Hardware.
I think it's like 11 bucks or something, pretty cheap. And this is mixed 1 to 2 or something. I use a 1/4 cup of water and a 1/2 cup of plaster of Paris. The tools you need are screwdriver, straight razor, wire brush, a little one like this, and a little brush like this for the reamer. And a mandrel off your machine if you have a spare one like this. So we're going to go from this to this to that. I've plastered the inside, and then you ream it like this to fit your cylinder. So what happens on these are, like you have this one, these get spongy and then they kind of move and warp a little. So when you ream it, when we're done, you ream it and your cylinder might bounce a little, so you'll see the reaper, but it's playable. So let me show you how I do this. Well, you do this one. First, you need to clean this out.
So you lined the bowl with...
Line the bowl with saran wrap so I can mix the plaster of Paris, then pull it up like a little pouch and then throw what's left over. First thing you're going to do is take the wire brush and you're going to come in here and you're going to scrape around the original plaster of Paris.
And what are you doing?
I'm cleaning all the crud and crap, but I'm also giving the plaster of Paris something to adhere to, like I'm sanding it down before I paint a car. And you clean that up. Now you got to look down in there and see if you have any cracks. So I take the screwdriver that's clean and I clean the edges. And I'm very forceful because anything that's semi-cracked, I want it to break off. See, like that one just came out? You don't want to put plaster of Paris in here and then have a piece that's loose. Clean that up. See here how this one, we broke out another piece. I'm very forceful with it, but gentle. See, that breaks off, and then there's a little piece of, you can see the dirt in here under where that piece broke out. Once you get that, wipe it out clean with a paper towel. Looks good. Now we take a little plaster of Paris.
1/2 cup of plaster of Paris to 1/4 cup of water.
Yep. It's kind of like baking cookies. Pour that into the water. Mix this up. And we're going to let this sit a minute while it sets up, because you have that time limit.
How much time do you have until this solidifies?
I got about 5 minutes. Now we're going to take, while that sets up, we're going to take blue painter's tape and we're going to roll it around the edge Just like this, it won't hurt the cylinder. So what you want to do is get a dab in here. We'll mix this up. It's getting good. So you're going to take a dab like this and come in here like so. But when you're dabbing the plaster of Paris, you have to have it thick enough where the edge is here. See how this is drooping down? So we have to build that up. So it's kind of like welding. We're just going to put a big glob and rotate the cylinder. So I'll come in here like that. And this is just a wooden stir spoon I found someplace that I use for this. I'll clean it off when we're done. This stuff will start setting up really quickly. Now you see here how I'm getting it just thick enough right in here. And if you see little holes in there, you can fill them up. One of that I did had little holes. I filled all those up. You'll see holes at the end of your cylinder. You can clean up in here with a plaster of Paris too. You'll see chips out. I found this a lot of fun trying to figure out how to do this. I thought this is really cool. That's because Mrs. Genius is smarter than I am. No. Now we're just going to rotate it till it really starts to set up. Then when you're done with that, you're going to, after it sets up, you're going to come in and it'll be kind of tacky, and you're going to take your thumb and you're going to push in around like this, pushing it into it. And then after you get it pushed in, it'll start setting up. Then you come back and say, okay, I'm a little low. We add a little bit more plaster of Paris. Once it's set up, like this, all you do is remove the tape.
How long do you have to let it set up?
I let mine this set overnight. I really wanted it to be hard. And the cool thing about using the painter's blue tape, it'll pull crap out of the grooves of the record. Then after all that's done, you'll come in with a reamer. I get
so
these
this is
off
the
eBay.
next day?
The next day, I come in with a reamer, and I'll go, okay, I got some big blobs in there. It doesn't want to go in to ream. Then I take my Dremel tool with a rounding sander, and I sand around like this a little just to get the high areas. I work it a little bit, going like this. And then I get it in, and then you start reaming. And because this plaster of Paris is a little bit softer than the original Edison, then you do this a little bit, this will load up. Then you have to keep cleaning it off. So you're going to come in and do a few and you can see here how this is where it's going into the new plaster of Paris. So you need to get this off. And then you clean it and keep reaming.
How do you get it off?
I get it off with a real soft wire brush. I'll just clean this like this. I'll do a little bit and a little bit, and then you do a little bit, and then you start testing. So it'll be here like this, and you keep grinding, grinding, grinding till you get it almost centered into the mandrel of the cylinder. So when you get this one on, perfectly done. And it'll end up like this. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a lot of fun, and that's my tip for the day.